All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there are more than, no, let me see. There are other ways, whatever, you know, multiple mediums. Uh-oh, we're starting off bad. Maybe I should cut and start over. No. We're going to get it. I'm really happy about this, about today's information. There's a hiccup, but is it really? Because those of you who don't know, my timeline is September, October. So any little thing that happens, like what happened today, is I don't really, it doesn't really throw me off. But anyway, so Spotify.com, let's see, all of that. Anywhere that I post other than YouTube, I'm my FX Buddies, but I'm trying to make it, the algorithms really have changed, you guys. So I'm trying to make my FX Buddies come up, but my channel, that's not the name of my channel. But anyway, not that you really need to know that. But some people, well, how do I find you? And then if I say, oh, just put in my FX Buddies, it's going to go to the blog and not the YouTube channel, and whatever, right? Hopefully it won't matter much longer anyway. And I do mean that. I do mean that. Look, 11 days will be August 1st, right? So then I don't know about you, but August seems to go by fast. Then September. Anyway, I'm probably giving someone some stress, so let me be quiet. And let's get to the point. Okay, the point is my favorite place for you to see this information is the blog. And the blog is at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. But that is a lot to remember or type in. So wherever you are engaging with this content, look for a prompt of more info, intro, description, something of that nature. Tap on it, and another box comes down, opens, whatever, with a link directly to the blog, the free blog. You don't even have to put your email in, right? And then you have access to all these articles, everything you're going to see in the video. And there's always more articles than I have time to cover, which is one reason why you should go, because there may be something more exciting to you than there is to me, doggone it. I just remembered I left something out. You know what? I'm just going to record this. I'll post-production, I'll put it in. Because I'm sure. Nope, hold on. Let me pause. All right. Well, I totally messed up the blog. Trying to add that in really quick. But anyway, let's continue. All right. So now this came out. The cashless. Oh, wait, that's not what I'm calling this. Look, the title's gone. Oh, no. There it is. Cashless Iraq, question mark. Digital banking era is here. And isn't it so funny? We're doing that. It's like we're on parallels. Many times it's like what we're doing here and what Iraq is doing there. Parallels. Okay, and then an update on the parallel market. That's like the bright spot of my day, right? Okay. All right. Anyway, so digital banks in Iraq, the birth of a new financial era. So I don't know who this guy is. It says who he is though. Okay, let's make this a little bigger. But he talks about the CBI is fully on board, right? In conjunction with the Central Bank of Iraq's efforts to enhance financial inclusion and modernize the banking system, a strategic initiative was launched. This initiative includes developing an instant payments project, the local card, remember, in addition to issuing regulations. That's what is this thing here? That's my phone. in addition to issuing regulations for licensing digital banks in Iraq. So, yeah. And then, so I'm wondering if Ali Alak is somewhere meeting with, I'm sure they have a team. You know, they probably have not a ministry, but committees and stuff. And maybe that's where he's been working on this. So also, they have to do infrastructure, cybersecurity risks, you know, all that good stuff. So, the issued report highlights the mechanisms for establishing digital banks. Remember, they only have a few, too, like one or two, at least that they've told us about, right? Um, for establishing digital banks in Iraq and explains how to implement this initiative in accordance with the regulations of the Central Bank of Iraq in integration with local payment systems and global financial technology standards. I know the word you see is Fintech, but that's what Fintech stands for, financial technology, while adhering to an environmental and social governance practices that have become essential in the world of modern finance. And I do understand. Okay, the Genius Act, you guys, don't panic over that. Plus, there's one more piece. There's another piece of legislation. It's called compliant clarity. Yeah, if you haven't heard about that, you're gonna hear about that. That's my phone again. Um, the the reason why I say that is because some people tell me, "Can you turn your phone off? When your phone goes off, it makes me look to see if that's my phone." So rather than, because I'm a mama and sometimes I get urgent requests, I don't like turning my phone off. So that's why when you hear it ding, I say that's my phone. So if you're one of those people, you don't have to go look for your phone because you know that's my phone. All right. Anyway, so the it's called Clarity. I don't know if it's Clarity Act, Clarity Law, but it's something. It has the word clarity in it, and that's another piece of the puzzle, and they don't think that's going to get done until like September. But now is the time because there's so much fear that I don't know who's doing it, but people are like, "Oh, that gives the government to take the right to take your money." I'm like, they can take your money now. They can unbank you now. Look up General Flynn. I'm not saying you have to like the man. General Flynn sues Chase because they didn't like his politics or he's a Christian, whatever. They just were like, "Oh, sorry, we're not doing business with you anymore." Now, they didn't take the money, right? But they froze his accounts and was like, "You need to go elsewhere." So, whatever they want to do, they pretty much can do, right? It's if you're going to fight back, if you're going to get an attorney. Now, granted, if this was CBDC, that would be bad. But so far, we're still okay. All right. And like I said, we still have time, but I can't explain it. I understand it, but not enough to explain it. When I can understand it and both of my boys, excuse me, when I can explain it to both of my boys and they understand it, that's when I feel comfortable telling people about what just happened or stable coins or anything like that. So don't ask me because I'm not going to give you an answer. What I will do is say, YouTube has lots of free tutorials on that, right? If you know me, that's what I say. All right. Anyway, so yeah, let's see what else. They got to use apps, digital wallets, teach them how to transfer. Of course, it says they're going to target segments of society. And I like them being honest. That's what they're doing, right? they are targeting segments of society. So they've been working on it from 2014. This plan they're currently in will end in 2026. So this is really good. They have partnerships with World Bank, the UN, IFC, which is the arm of the World Bank. So this is a really good article for those who care about stuff like this. I know some people see digital and you just want to bury your head in the sand, but I know some people are open to it. And the budget stuff is so boring. Yes, we're going to get to that. And the oil stuff is so boring. And yes, we're going to get to that. But I thought this was way more exciting. Even though, I don't like digital, I want us to have a choice. I want traditional banking to be around and digital if we want it. I don't want it to be forced on us, right? So here's the last they go in about environmental social governance, ESG, which is pretty much on the way out for right now. Okay. This requires strict adherence to legislation, a flexible operational approach, and the political and economic will to keep pace with the global digital transformation, because they still don't have, like, half the population is like, cash. I want cash. Give me my cash, right? So it's the will. Then they're putting up all this money. Look, they still don't have 24-hour electricity, which means they still don't have 24 internet connection, right? But anyway, they're making a lot of progress. And so then with that article, this comes out. Reshape Bank launches a loan service via keycard with a limit of 15 million dinars. And guess what? That will be digital. Digital. They will go online and apply for, they call it, they don't use the word loan. What's the other word? It starts with an F. Uh, front. I just saw the stupid word too, and it's not coming to me. Mm, it's more like a British term. Um, but whatever. Yeah. So the applications are made electronically only via the app. So see if someone, ooh, and the applicant can be no older than 57 years of age. Ageist. But guess what? You can't do nothing about it. They don't have that. They don't have that that organization over here that fights for people over 57. Whew. But hey, I mean, in all reality, they're probably not the ones that are gonna go. Look, I'm not 57, and I hate going on apps, and I hate doing things digitally. So yeah. All right. But anyway, so yeah, they're just moving right along. Okay, so this was one of the things we were waiting for to happen, which really didn't bring about anything. So the Minister of Finance, there's her name. So I just call her Miss Sammy. She went before the Parliamentary Finance Committee, which is different than Parliament. So you can read, look, I have all these articles here, Finance Minister, and I even have two more that I didn't even post that are really long. Outcomes of hosting Miss Sammy. 3 reasons behind the delay in the 2025 budget schedule. Now look at this one. Now this title. This title almost got me to post. But I said I'll just show you the title. Come on. It goes slow when I'm recording. But it says, bring a knight and take a slap in the face. What does that mean? An expert responds to Miss Sammy's reasons for the delay in the budget schedules. Basically, they're flimsy excuses. And you know what they are? You can even guess what they are. Fluctuating oil prices. The Kurds are still tripping with their oil. And then there was a third one. I forget what the third one was, but it was just as flimsy. Um, so yeah, so I have these articles here for you if you want to read them, but nothing is changing. Although the Atwana Twani, who is the commissioner of that group, that Parliamentary Finance Committee, he did in one of these articles, he has a blurb saying, despite the Bavarian sweet cream that we had to listen to today, um, I do feel that we will see the budget schedules before the end of the year. So, it is what it is, right? I'll keep watch. And like I said, you can go to the blog, you can read those articles if you like. But most people just want to know what happened. All right. And I think you trust me now, right? You trust my word that I only like to say things as truthfully as I understand them, right? Okay. Anyway, Iraq is among the richest Arab countries, but its wealth is far removed from the realities of the people. And this was urgent when it was posted. It's not urgent anymore. But despite recently being ranked among the richest Arab countries in terms of resources and revenues, the Iraqi economy remains stuck between the duality of wealth and mismanagement. So, this I think is this article comes out every now and then. Yeah, this is in Arabic. I don't know what that means. And usually, when you try to translate tables or graphs, whatever you want to call that, it doesn't come out right. But if I'm a citizen and I read this, I'm like, come on, y'all, we need to go to the streets. It's ridiculous now. But see, they are living better. They're getting money, except for the Kurdish region. They're getting money on a regular basis. The retirees, remember, they got $100,000 increase, 100,000 dinar increase. So things are getting better, which kind of makes them go, well, they're trying, right? Well, another holiday's coming. We're going to get another bonus. But yeah, this is something everyone can read. This is some kind of report that gets posted somewhere. But look, Iraqis ranking among the richest nations. Oh, oh. You know what? Sorry. One more thing I want to show you. No, it drives some of you crazy when I bounce all around. Check this out. Speaking of the wealthiest Iraqis, hope you can't hear that. That is the Toyota Land Cruiser. Is it 2025, 2026? It's called the Crusher. So I can't, I'm going to try to download this. Or you know what? Maybe it's on, I doubt it. But so I'm going to try to download this and do it a video. It's 3 minutes. And I know there's people like you, like me. You like to see stuff like this. But who can afford that? Okay? Who in Iraq can afford that? And where are they going to drive it? Right? But anyway, it's pretty nice, except I think it's electric. It says right here, and electric too. And I'm sorry, yeah, I'm not down with the EVs. Anyway, yeah, so that made me think. And now if they run that on TV and I'm struggling to eat or put my baby in school, and then I see an article like this, I might just get a little heated, you know? But anyway, I mean, and I guess the same thing goes here, right? But at least we know. We know there's the middle class is disappearing and there's haves and have-nots, right? All right, let's see. So here's more about the delay in the budget. Okay, so again, this is another one of those articles. Oh, matter of fact, here's the one. This is the article of Atwani revealing the conditions and that he feels they'll arrive at the House of Representatives, if you want to read that. But like I said, he said by the end of the year, which isn't good because the elections are in November. So I would rather he said before the elections, right? But there is a bit of a hiccup. So the people didn't get their money. Um, See, the real reason is political, even though the election date is approaching. It appears there's no real intention yet. But this is not a 2020 saying this. This is someone else. So you get both sides. It's okay. So the problem, okay, here. The preparation of the 2026 budget may be delayed until the middle of next year due to the elections. It's going to be delayed, okay? But hopefully we will be out of here before then, right? But you guys have to know, if the rate change doesn't happen before the elections, we're going into next year. So be prepared. Hopefully it won't, but I'm just letting you know. Be prepared. Okay? Because they're even talking about 2026. They're even talking about next year. And like I said, in 11 days, it'll be August 1st. All right. Oil and gas laws suspended for political reasons, and they blame it on the Kurds. But that's nothing new. Why is there so much space there? Something's missing there. I'll fix that when I go fix that other thing. Here's my one commercial. Good thing I'm not a professional with all these mistakes I be making. So I have no sponsors. I don't sell you gold. I don't sell you coffee. I don't sell you anything. In fact, I tell you, hey, buy me a cup of coffee. But anyway, if you'd like to support me, I appreciate it. And there's the ways that you can. PayPal, Cash App is $Tishwash. And when this is a live link, this buy me a coffee will be a live link. All right. So let's see. Now this is good news, kinda. I mean, it's indifferent but more positive than negative. So remember, this was one of the lawsuits that Baghdad basically had brought against us. You see that? US and the Kurds, because of the $10 billion deal that was made without their approval. But then remember, HKN came to Baghdad and made a deal with Baghdad. So yeah, magically, that lawsuit gets rejected. And I bet you they'll just let it go, because now they're happy. The Kurds got a deal with HKN, and now Baghdad has a deal with HKN. Isn't that funny how that works? All right. But it works out better for HKN, which is an American company, right? Because they got deals with both sides, right? So isn't that okay? We can skip this, but this is good. They're expanding the ISX to Lebanon. I thought I bolded, yeah. So if you want to read that, I don't know how long it's gonna take, but yep, that came out today. Here, if you want to read about their gold standing, you can read that. They're still pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. All right, the neighbor, their neighbor who ends in an N, they have said, hey, we'll come back to the table, but on our terms, and we want it with this European troika in Istanbul, which isn't Istanbul, Turkey? I don't know. It is, right? So why didn't they just say Turkey? But anyway, I think troika means three, right? In some language. Anyway, so that's good, right? That's a positive thing. They just had this in here, but you see how closely tied their market is? Iraq is the second largest importer from Iran. I wonder who's first. China. Hmm, okay. Okay. So now this could be a problem. All right. And I'm not going to go through the article. I'm just going to read you the title. Security expert, and there he is. Doesn't he kind of, never mind. Security expert predicts U.S. strikes on Iraq's militias after drone attacks on, oops, I said that word. Oh well, KRG oil infrastructure. So, but there hasn't been any, as far as I can tell, there hasn't been any more incidents over the weekend since they've come out. If you didn't listen to yesterday's episode, why didn't you? That's okay, because I'm going to put it at the end of this episode. So if you stay to the end, when a little thing pops up and you can watch the last episode. And also, there's a little icon there that you can tap on to subscribe if you so wish to. But more importantly than subscribing, hit the thumbs up. Okay, so he was interviewed and he thinks in the coming days. I am a little worried because he's a former something or another, and now they just call him Iraqi security and military expert. Okay, so I was a little like, well, maybe this will be nothing until our guy gets involved. Joe Reeder. And let me show you Joe Reeder. Yeah, that's Joe Reeder. And he sounds like you think he would sound. But still, it's only a 10-minute video and you can speed it up. Everyone knows, right? You hit this gear here and you go to playback. Because I know you could even speed me up. Look, they even let you go. Look how far. They let you go to 4 now. I can't do that. I'm good at 1.75 is good for me. But anyway, so I'm trying to embed him in this article. So it's not there right now. And actually, I didn't let you see what I did to it. But I'm going to correct it. And so he's saying that the possibility, he's like, if any administration would be an administration to defend its interests, it would be this administration, right? So you should listen. It's just 10 minutes. But hopefully, what do they say? When all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And that's these guys' specialists. They're security and military. So they're like, they hit us, hit them back, right? So hopefully now that they have said, the only thing they did not give were names. They said, we know who made these. We know where they were shot off from, which is Kirkuk, which is strange. I don't know why it's from there. Kirkuk is not part of Kurdistan or Baghdad. Kirkuk is that Article 140 area. All right, I think this might be the last. Oh no, okay, the parallel market rate. We'll finish out with that. Okay, so, but here is the new thing. This is the son Barzani, who is, I believe, he's the prime minister. On Sunday, delivered a frank and detailed account of the ongoing salary crisis, revealing he had personally agreed to a new oil and revenue for salaries deal with Baghdad, only for the federal government to create new excuses and conditions complicated by the recent scones, cones, phones aggression on the region's oil fields. So they're like, well, there's so much damage. We lost track of counting the oil. So we don't really know, are you sending the right amount of oil? So we're going to hold off in sending the money. So guess what? Those poor people did not get paid. So it could be an excuse. It could be real, whatever. That's the latest. This came out today. That's the latest. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm sure the people will be in the street. The Kurds, the citizens, they'll probably be out because remember, if you're new to me, they were out. One of them was hit by a pew pew, and they're no longer breathing. And guess what? They were still out the next day. So, uh-oh. Oh, that's that wedding. Uh, I hope that's that wedding and not a new tragedy. Oh my gosh. Anyway, oh, and they've arrested people and put people on leave over that tragedy. But anyway, so here we're going to end on a good note, right? The dollar had a new decline. So look, all of these are under 1400. Oh, well, if you're just listening, all of the exchange rate for the parallel market 13.99, 13.97, 13.99, 13.98, 13.97. That's the buy and the sell. And bow, 13.90. Woohoo! So that's closing. The 13.90 is the closing in Baghdad. So tomorrow it could open. Sometimes it opens lower, sometimes it opens higher, but we'll see. So it's inching its way down. All right. Thank you for listening. Sorry for all the back and forth, but that's how my brain works. And if this is your first time listening, just hang around. Sometimes I'm on point, sometimes I'm all over the place, but it's always good, right? All right. So accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals. Pay all your bills. Like, subscribe, join, all that good stuff because I don't post regularly. So if technology works as it is supposed to, you'll be notified when I do post, and yeah, it will be all good. All right, so let's look forward to some good things happening this week, this new week, and enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are indulging in this content. And until next time.